On one of my recent videos on a social media platform, in the comment section, someone said something along these lines, something kind of like this. This guy, he was talking about me, this guy should define what he means when he refers to God. And when I read that, I thought, well, now, that's pretty hard to do because it's such a huge subject. That would require a really, really, really long post to, this challenge of defining God. And even in a really lengthy post, I'm probably going to fall far short of defining God. But I also thought this. When I read that comment, I thought, you know what? he kind of has a point. That's a fair question. Like, if you're going to go around talking about God all the time, like I do, you should provide a definition. What do you mean by God? You're talking about him. What do you mean? So, I'm going to try, this is my attempt to give a very simple, very, very basic definition. It's a definition that I'm trying my best to be consistent with what the Bible tells us about God. And yet at the same time, I'm going to try to keep this fairly brief. So, when I talk about God, here's what I mean. God is the supreme being. He's the first cause. He's the one who created everything, and he sustains everything that exists. Everything that exists, and that includes you and me, depends upon God. God, on the other hand, depends upon no one or nothing for his existence. God is infinite and eternal. In other words, he has no beginning, he has no end. He just always has been. He is all-powerful, all-knowing, and he's everywhere present. God is knowable. We can know him, and yet we cannot fully understand God. You see, he's infinite. God is an infinite being, and we are limited. We are finite beings. So, even though he has revealed himself to us in nature and in his word, the Bible, and therefore we can truly know him, still, we can't know him completely. When theologians define God, part of the definition typically involves identifying the nature and the characteristics of God, attributes of God. These attributes help us understand who he is. I've already actually mentioned some of the characteristics or attributes of God. For example, I've already said that he's all-powerful and that he's all-knowing. Here are some other attributes of God. And I'm bringing these up in an attempt to define God because these attributes help us understand him and who he is. So, God is holy. God is wise. God is unchanging. God is loving. In fact, he's the definition of love. All true love comes from God. He's the source. God is merciful. He is patient and kind. And yet there is such a thing as the wrath of God. He is just and he is righteous. God is personal. He's always, always, always truthful. Always truthful. God is perfect. God, when I'm talking about God, I'm talking about a God who exists in three persons: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And yet he's one being. In Christianity, we call this the Trinity. Three persons, one God. Now, I will freely acknowledge there's way, 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 way more that could be said about God. I've just kind of scratched the surface. But again, I'm trying to keep it basic and somewhat brief. And so, that's what I mean when I'm talking about God.